Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Dane Clark is an actor many of you know, although some TCMers may not be aware of him, but he enjoyed a very long, eclectic career over the course of 50 years. He's the kind of actor we like to throw a spotlight on because he doesn't always get the attention we think he deserves. And attention is what he's going to get during the next several hours. Dane Clark was born Bernie Zanville in Brooklyn, New York, back in 1912. He graduated from Cornell University and St. John's Law School, planning to be a lawyer. But the Great Depression of the 1930s made it very tough to get a foothold in law, and he eventually became an actor, appearing on Broadway, then in Hollywood, where his timing could not have been better. The acting ranks of males in their mid-20s and early 30s were badly depleted in Hollywood due to World War II enlistments and the draft. So Bernie Zanville, age 29, and somewhat of a John Garfield type, was snapped up by Warner Brothers Studios, put under contract, and was soon working in films with Humphrey Bogart, Cary Grant, Bette Davis, Ida Lupino, even John Garfield. By 1945, he'd acquired enough of a fan base, he was ranked number 16 among all the stars in Hollywood in terms of being a box office name. And about his own name, he always said it was Humphrey Bogart, who suggested he switch from being Bernie Zanville to Dane Clark when he worked with Bogart in the 1943 film Action in the North Atlantic. That was Dane Clark's first film under his new contract he just signed with Warner's. We're going to start our salute to Dane Clark with the film he made after his 7-year run at Warner Brothers, and when he joined many Hollywood actors who were going off to work in Europe in the early 1950s for tax purposes. Our film is a crime drama Dane Clark made in France in 1950 called Gunman in the Streets. He plays the title character, who's a notorious American criminal named Eddie Roback, who escapes from police custody but then has to elude a massive manhunt he's triggered, trying to make it out of Paris and flee the country. The film was directed by Hollywood's Frank Tuttle, for whom Dane Clark had once done a bit part in the Alan Ladd film The Glass Key, back when Dane Clark was still Bernie Zanville. Now he was playing the lead for Frank Tuttle. His castmates include Fernand Gravet, and long before she became the legendary star of such films as Diabolique, Ship of Fools, and her Academy Award-winning Room at the Top, the great Simone Signoret. If the title of the film, by the way, isn't familiar to you, there's a reason for that. It was never theatrically released in the U.S. It has long been considered a lost film. It is lost no longer. Here it is from 1950, Gunman in the Streets.